Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first check-in session for the Kubestronaut 2025 program. Thank you so much for joining this session. Really appreciate your time. So we had a kickoff session 2 weeks back. If you're not aware, I'll revisit and share a little bit more details. I'll recap some of the things that we spoke about during that session. But yeah, very happy to have you all here. Let me just take a quick look at the chat. So I see Siraj, I see Jonathan, Vinay, Aravind. Welcome everybody. Hello Naveen. Hi David, Matteo, Fayaz from Pakistan. We have Vinay Mahajan. We have Kabul Sheikh, Alexander. We have Marcio from Brazil. Welcome, Marcio. We have Mehdi from Tunisia. Welcome and thank you so much for joining. So let me share my screen and get this going. Not that. Okay, so this is the first check-in session for the cohort that we started at the beginning of the year, with the mission to get hundreds of Kubestronauts out there, to launch hundreds of Kubestronauts in 2025. So before we begin, I want to take a moment to congratulate those who have got their sessions, their talks accepted at KubeCon Europe. So congratulations to Aurelia, Julia, Nancy, Daniel, Brand, Ahmed Bebers, Nicholas, and all of the others, everyone else who have got their sessions selected for KubeCon London. I want to say that, just a reminder that KodeKloud is going to be there at KubeCon London from the 1st to the 4th of April. Likewise, we're also going to be there in KubeCon India at the 6th to 7th of August in Hyderabad. So we are a silver sponsor, so we're going to be there in our booth, and we'd love to have you there. So if you have not registered yet, please remember to register early to get the early bird fees. Also, I want to take a moment to congratulate those who have recently become Kubestronauts. So Raquel, Jitwan, Puru, Jacob, Muhammad Yuga, congratulations on becoming a Kubestronaut, I guess in the past couple of weeks. So why join this program? So in the beginning of the year, we saw a lot of interest for people trying to come together to learn Kubernetes, to become Kubestronaut. And so we thought, why not put this together to a community motion? So that's why we put together this cohort. The whole idea is to learn together as part of the cohort and help each other out, and exchange ideas, solve problems, and gain different perspectives through discussions with like-minded people, right? We also have some accountability tools, so which I'll be sharing later in this video. So we have leaderboards, we have knowledge graphs, and other things that will help you along this journey. And we also have regular support and feedback channels. So we have a Discord channel. If you're not part of that already, please use the links in the comments and the descriptions to join our Discord channel and get involved in the discussions. So if you have not started your journey yet, you still have time. So we're not far away. We just started a couple of weeks back. So you still have time to catch up. So the only prerequisites are to have a decent understanding of Linux, because you're going to be working on Linux terminals, and of course, basic understanding of containers, Docker specifically, and basic understanding of Kubernetes. So if you don't know Kubernetes, you still have time to learn the basics and still join the cohort. Obviously, on top of that, you want to make sure you have willingness to learn, the grit and perseverance, and an attitude to never give up. So just a reminder, we have two paths that we have come up with. So we have the path that starts with the CKA and then goes on to CKAD and then KCNA, CKS, KCSA. This is what I call, what I would say, a path for people who have a little bit of experience, at least on the system administration side. Right, you're good with Linux. You're good with hands-on experience. So you should be able to start with the CKA. The thing is, once you start with CKA, you'll have completed a lot of topics in a lot of the other courses, and the others become easy. Now, I would call this to be a comparatively faster-paced approach. So this is path 2. This is for those who are just getting started. Starting with the KCNA might be the ideal path here because it's not a hands-on exam. It is a multiple choice exam. So you learn the theory, you learn the basics, and then you can then move on to some of the easier hands-on exams, which I would say is the CKAD, and then move on to CKA. So this starts with easy and then moves on to the harder exams. So this, I would say, is a slightly a longer approach. So we've put a little bit more additional buffer time for the courses in this path. Okay, so for the check-in, we had decided that by now, in the past 2 weeks, you should have completed 2 major sections in the course, in the CKA course. So this is specifically for the CKA. So that's the first is the introduction, and then you have the core concepts, and that's what was expected of you in the past 2 weeks. So just to give you an idea, just going through the course. So here you're able to see all the sections in the CKA course, and you have the first introduction section. So here, that's very easy. It's just what the course is about and what the certification is about. So that should be very easy. But then the core concept section has everything about the basics of Kubernetes, the cluster architecture, gives you an understanding of the difference between Docker and Containerd. So there's a section on that. I think that's very important. And then there's a note on Docker deprecation. So Docker itself was deprecated from Kubernetes a couple of years ago. So there's some information about that. And then there's some basic understanding of etcd for beginners. There's a hands-on, there's a lab later coming in for etcd, but this is, at this stage, it's just a basic understanding and introduction. And then we go into the different components of the Kubernetes architecture. So the API server, we look at what controller manager is, what a scheduler is, what kubelet is, kube proxy, pods. And then we have the first lab that's kind of coming up here. And this one is about pods. And then you have a solution for that. And then you have, we move on to then replica sets. And then there's a lab on replica set. And then you have deployments, and then there should be a lab for deployments as well. And then we move on to services, namespaces, and then towards the end of this section. So by this time, you should have covered all the basic, foundational understanding of Kubernetes. So pods, replica sets, deployments, namespaces, and services. And that's basically the expectation. That was the expectation for the past 2 weeks. So if you were able to do that, congratulations, you've hit the milestone, the first milestone. If you haven't done that yet, don't worry, there's still a lot of time to catch up. So please plan to spend some time either through the next few days or through the weekends and plan to catch up. So all you need to do is just go watch the video, go through the labs. If you're comfortable, if you just hit the lab, clear the lab the first time, just keep continuing. If you feel like you need a little bit more practice, go back and do the labs again. Towards the end, there's also some tips around imperative commands with kubectl. So this is going to help you during the exam. It's good to practice running these commands. That way you don't have to work with just creating YAML files from scratch, right? So this is a big time saver during the exam, an absolute must. I would highly recommend practicing using these imperative commands to create pods or deployments, services, etc. All right, so that's the CKA cohort. So you should have by now have completed about 17% of the CKA course. Next is the next milestone is the next 3 sections. So this is going to be about scheduling, logging and monitoring, and application lifecycle management. All right, so these are again not very heavy topics. Just refresh my screen. So scheduling has about 32 lessons in it. So we're going to be talking about, again, each of these lessons are like very short, right? 2 to 3 minute videos with maybe a 10-minute lab exercise. So manual scheduling, we'll start with manual scheduling. Then we'll go on to look at labels and selectors. Then we look at taints and tolerations, and node selectors and node affinity. So this area can be a little bit confusing. So I would say spend a little bit more time there. So go through and really understand when to use taints and tolerations and when to use node affinity. There's a video that just explains the difference between the two. And there are some lab exercises that can help you practice that. And then we move on to resource limits and daemon sets. So there's a lab for that too. And then there's static pods. So this is something that'll be very interesting. So you'll get an idea how Kubernetes itself runs the control plane components on the different nodes using static pods. And then you have multiple schedulers. How do you configure multiple schedulers? And then you have a lesson on configuring scheduler profiles. And that's basically it. So that's one of the larger sessions. And then you have the logging and monitoring section. This is actually a very easy, pretty easy section. So you basically want to know how do you monitor cluster components. So if there's an error in Kube API server, or if there's an error in Kube scheduler, how do you monitor that? How do you check the logs? So that's what you'll be doing at this in this lesson. Again, very easy on how to. You just need to know how to locate these pods, and then how do you view the logs on them. Similarly, application logs, again, if you're running multiple applications, how do you just check the logs on those containers? That's basically it. So this is a very easy section, the logging and monitoring section. And then you have the application lifecycle management section. This is where we talk about when you roll out applications, rolling updates and rollbacks. How do you configure commands and arguments in applications? And then how do you configure environment variables? How do you pass environment variables? How do you configure secrets, and how do you pass secrets into your containers? And then we have multi-container pods. We have init containers. So again, this is also one of the relatively larger sections. So for the next 2 weeks, these 3 sections should be completed. And again, if you just focus, maybe if you give a couple of days for each section, you should be able to ideally get through this in a week, in a week and a half, maybe max, right? But you have 2 weeks, so go through and aim to complete this in the next 2 weeks. All right, so that's what's going to happen for CKA in the next 2 weeks. Now, for path 2, we're starting with the KCNA. So those of you who are going on path 2, you should be starting with the KCNA. So the KCNA core, it's also, the topics are very similar to what we discussed for CKA. So the first 3 sections are, again, the first section is introduction, very easy. But then you have the Kubernetes fundamentals section. This is, again, similar to what we had with CKA. So you go through the the absolute basics of pods, replica sets, deployments. But we start with a little bit more basics because this is for beginners. So we start with containers, and then we have a demo of running a Docker container. Then we start with container orchestration. We talk about CRI, container runtime interface, and then we talk about the difference between Docker and Kubernetes, Docker and Containerd. And then we move on to the Kubernetes resources, which is exactly what we had in the CKA course. So you have pods, replica sets, deployments, and then you have the imperative and declarative commands and namespaces. And that's basically it. So this should be, again, relatively easy. Once you go through the videos, you should take time to go through the quiz at the end of each section, and make sure you're comfortable. So by now you should have completed, again, 22% of the KCNA course. So that's about 24 lessons out of the 109 lessons. All right, so for the next 2 weeks, look into scheduling, security, and networking. So scheduling, again, very similar to what we had in the CKA. So, but here we're just going through the theory. So you have manual scheduling, labels and selectors, taints and tolerations, node selectors, node affinity, resource limits, daemon sets, static pods, and multiple schedulers. And that's in the scheduling section. And then you have, in security, you have everything from authentication, authorization, TLS, configuring TLS in Kubernetes, kubeconfig, API groups, role-based access controls, cluster roles, service accounts, image security, security context, and network policies. So these are covered in the security section. And then finally, in the networking section, it's a small section with 8 lessons, but it's all about networking. So you look into pod networking, CNI, and then you have DNS in Kubernetes, as well as ingress. So again, focus more on the theoretical knowledge, and at the end of each section, go through the quizzes and make sure you're all set there. So a little bit more on the KCNA side for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, if you just sit through it, you should be able to absolutely plow through that. Cool. So there was an update last time that we shared, that we had 90 that we had on by 15th Jan. So by this time, the CK exam would have been updated, but that did not happen. So the exam continues to be in the older format. So there are no changes happening, which is a good news to most of you. So if you have been preparing with the current course, the current curriculum, you have more time to finish and give the exam. So use this opportunity and make sure you attempt the exam before the 10th of February. So as per this message from CNCF, it says the exam will not be updated before February 10th. There are chances that it might still be delayed, but it's definitely not going to happen by February 10th. But even if it's happening, do not worry. There is no reason for us to not proceed with our studies, because the changes are not major, right? I anticipate about 10-15% change happening, but that's only in a very specific area. So usually when exam gets updated, as long as the knowledge that you need to clear the exam is the same, as long as the foundations are the same, the exam itself, it should not matter how much different the exam is. So there are just few areas that are going to be updated, and we're already working on updating the course. So by next week, we'll be updating the course with additional concepts around Helm and Customize. So that'll fix this area. And then you have some of the other additional topics that are needed will be added in the coming weeks. So to make it available before the exam itself gets updated. So we are working on updating the course, and it'll be rolled out. And whenever we roll out these updates, we'll make sure to send out an announcement either in Discord or through email. So make sure you are you stay connected. So just to give you an overall idea where we are right here in the first stage, with about 3.5 hours of studies done, with about 10 hours of practice done. And then the next phase is here. So we'll be targeting sections 2, 3, and 4 in the next 2 weeks. Similarly, for KCNA, we are over here. We have completed the first 3 sections, and in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be completing the next. We're going to be aiming to complete the next 3 sessions on scheduling, security, and networking. All right. Now it's time to introduce something. So one of the things that I shared last time, which was in an Excel format, was what I call a Kubestronaut knowledge graph. So this basically tells you the topics covered in different courses. Now, we've been getting questions over and over in the past couple of years about like how if I study for one certification, do I need to study for the next one all over again, right? And we've been trying to convey that that's not how it works. There are like specific topics that are covered in different certifications, but there is a lot that overlap because it's ultimately the underlying foundations remain the same. So if you go through one course, you're going to be covering a lot of topics in the other certifications as well. So what we have is what I call the Kubestronaut knowledge graph. So you can access it now if you go to kubestronaut.kodekloud.com. And this is an interactive knowledge graph. So you basically, you're able to see all the topics covered in each section, in each of the certifications. And if you hover over them, you'll be able to see how many topics kind of overlap between different certifications, right? So the Docker Rust Containerd is here in CKA, but it's also in the CKAD course, as well as in the KCNA course. And you're going to be able to see how they kind of relate to each other. And one of the cool features is if you highlight the course itself, then you're going to be able to see the overall coverage of that course across the other courses. So now it says if I complete CKA, I would have completed about 70% of CKAD. So there is almost 70% overlap between CKA and CKAD, and you can see what are the topics that are in CKAD that are not really covered in CKA. Similarly, you can see it covers 69-70% of KCNA. So if you scroll through this, you're going to be able to see that, and you can see at the end what are the topics that are covered in KCNA that are not covered in the CKA. So that's what this is meant for, and you can also kind of see the dependencies between the courses. So CKS requires the CKA. So, and you can also search for topics here. So if you want to know which all courses covers Docker, or maybe let's say RBAC, you're going to be able to see that across different courses. Cool. So yeah, check it out and share it in your community, bookmark it, and let us know if you have any feedback. Absolutely looking forward to it. So that's the first resource. The second resource is the Kubestronaut leaderboard that we had been working for the past few weeks. So it's now available in beta. So if you go to leaderboard.kodekloud.com, you're going to be able to see this. So the way it works is in the beginning, when you go here, you're going to be on this page, and you're going to be able to see the leaderboard. So all the others who are here, who are participating in the leaderboard, and you can join the cohort. And when you join, you have to give your consent to share your details. When you share your details, it's just your name and the progress. That's all. We do not share any other information publicly. So as soon as you share your consent, your progress from the course itself is picked, and it's shown here. So you're going to be able to see where you are in terms of progressing through the course. So at this stage, it's very basic. So we're only pulling the course progress information, but going forward, we'll have additional information like the lab attempts and the time that you spend in the labs. So the more time you spend working in the labs, you'll be able to see that here, as well as the scores of the mock exams and things like that. So this helps you kind of see where you are in the journey, and it would help foster healthy competition. So once you go through this, once you complete the course, you'll be listed here under the list of completed courses. And if you have already completed, and if you're already certified, you can just go here and add your certificate. So use the Add My Certificate feature, and when you complete your certification, you would have received a Credly badge. So there would be a link to a Credly badge. So you just copy that link and put that here and hit submit, and your certificates would be listed here. So if you go to My Certificates, you're going to be able to see that. And if for some reason your certificate is expired, as you can see mine are, you'll be able to see that they're expired and that you're supposed to renew. So you're supposed to have active certifications, I guess, to get the Kubestronaut badge. So, and then if you go back here under overall progress, you'll be able to see all those who have completed all the certifications and depending on the issued date. So you have different courses and different leaderboards for each course. So you have CKA, you have the CKAD, you have the KCNA. On the left-hand side here, you're also able to see the different paths and the overall progress for the path. I think someone said that the video is a bit blurry. I'll try and fix that. Yeah. So on the left-hand side here, you're going to be able to see the two paths that we've defined. So the path 1 and the dates for that path. So we're here at the moment, and you can see the overall journey that's listed here. Similarly, for the path 2, you're able to see where we are. And as when you add your certifications, you'll be able to see the kind of the progress displayed here. Cool. So yeah, check it out. It's in a beta phase. So if you have any challenges with it, do share it, your feedback in the Discord channel. So definitely join the Discord channel. And if you run into any issues, feel free to share it there. Cool. So those are the two resources that I want to share. Hopefully next time, by next time, we will have a more completed leaderboard with a lot of data, with all of your data, and we'll be able to see where everyone is, and that would make a check-in more, more gamified. Cool. So that's the leaderboard. Next, I just wanted to share again about the check-in sessions and the support that we're giving out. So we have a Discord channel, and we have a cohort, a private cohort channel specifically for this cohort. So use the link to join the Discord channel, and when you join, you're going to be able to see this kind of welcome form, and then make sure you select this particular interest here, which says become a Kubestronaut in 2025, and then you'll be added to that particular channel. Cool. So just finishing off with some tips. Again, something I shared last time, but I just want to call out: aim to complete your milestones, right? No matter what. So the milestones, the topics are selected based on the complexity and the time that it would require to complete in 2 weeks. So if you aim to spend a couple of hours every day, or if you just decide to just take out one day, maybe a weekend or something, and plow through it, that also works. So aim to complete it, aim to hit your milestones no matter what, right? Now, even if, when I say no matter what I mean is if you are not sure about a specific topic, don't get stuck. You just note it down and just proceed, because sometimes you need a lot of kind of related information to understand that particular topic. So as you go through proceed through the course, complete more lectures, and when you come back, you would have made that network graph of other topics that are needed to learn this topic, and then you'll be able to understand that better the next time. So just keep going, even if you don't fully understand a particular topic and don't get stuck or demotivated of not really understanding something. Next, learn at your own pace. So if you can do more, and if you think this pace that we have set is too slow for you, feel free to go through and continue. Don't worry, and you don't have to stop at the 3 sections that we have listed. If you have time, please go through and complete more sections, because it's going to help you if things get harder towards the second month. Engage with the community. I think one of the big I would say hacks that I would recommend is looking at what issues others are facing and just seeing if you can help them. That would help you learn in a much better way. So check out the questions people are asking in the KodeKloud community or in the Discord channel, and try and help them and try and answer their questions, and that will automatically help you learn better. Use KodeKloud AI. So there's the KodeKloud AI chatbot that's available in the lab. So if you get stuck in the lab, then that should be your first go-to. Just ask the KodeKloud AI what's wrong, and it should be able to tell you exactly what you did wrong. So keep trying that. And don't aim for perfection. If you're at the stage where you've completed the course, you're ready to attempt the exam. Remember, you have two attempts, so don't aim to be like fully confident. If you're at 80% confidence, I would say you should aim to give the first attempt. Let's share your wins in our channels, and let's keep celebrating them. If you want to kind of continue to listen to the course, while you're working, or you're doing your other activities, exercises, things like that. Those are some ideas to keep things moving. So the next check-in is going to be 2 weeks after. That's on 30th Jan. Just a reminder, for the first path, we have the scheduling, logging and monitoring, and app lifecycle management sections. And for path 2, we have the scheduling, security, and networking sections. So go through that, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, feel free to post it here. I'm going to go back and check some of the questions. So thanks a lot for posting these. So do you have a DevOps boot camp program from scratch, just entry level? So we don't have boot camp programs as in like traditional boot camp programs, but we have like learning paths that can help you go from like real basics, right? So if you're a entry level absolute beginner, then we have a number of learning paths on our platform. So if you just go to learning paths, KodeKloud.com/learning paths, you'll be able to see some learning paths that can help you go from the absolute basics. So I would recommend starting with the Linux basics, understanding the basics of just getting really good at Linux terminal, and then learning about Docker, and then learning about Kubernetes, and then aiming for the certifications. So just passed the KCNA last week, so congratulations. Going for the KCSA, so that's fine too. If you want to start with the second path, so the second path has, let me just go to that here. Yeah, so path 2 has KCNA, and then CKAD, CKA, CKS, and KCSA. The reason I've put this like this is because once you do KCNA, you have the you learn about the absolute basics, and then CKAD is an easy addition to that. The whole security side of things is a lot of like completely different topics, I would say, more security related topics. So that's why I kind of kept them apart, separate. So if you're doing security, then it's best to do these together. Like if you do the CKS, then you probably already cover like 50% of KCSA. And if you do the KCSA, you probably do 20-30% of CKS, right? So that's why I put this apart. But if you just want to do the hands-on, if you just want to do the multiple choice questions first, then that's fine too. So you can start with the KCNA and then do the KCSA, and then start with the hands-on exams in case you want to gain a bit more confidence. Starting with KCNA, that's awesome. So all the best. Pawan Kumar says, passed KCNA last week. Now I have scheduled the CK exam on the 27th, which is a week from now. First of all, congratulations on completing the KCNA, and all the best for your CK exam. So are the video lectures sufficient to learn and clear the CKA? The video lectures combined with the hands-on labs that come right after the video lectures should be sufficient to learn and clear the CKA, and a lot of practice. I mean, at the end of the course, you have mock exams, and then we also have the ultimate mock exam series if you feel like you need more practice. But yeah, a lot of practice will help clear the CKA. So out of all the 5 certifications, how many of them are hands-on? Which ones are MCQ? So as you can see here, the KCNA is a MCQ exam, and the last one, the KCSA, is an MCQ exam. Everything in between, the CKA, the CKAD, and the CKS, are all hands-on exams. So when will the courses be updated for the revised exam? So the CKA course, as I mentioned, is what's going to be the CKA exam is what is getting the update, and that's not happening before February 10th. So we're already working on updating the course. By next week, we will have some of these sections updated. And in the weeks that are following, we will have some of these other sections updated as well. So by February 10th, we will have the course updated. So how and where to register for the certification exam? Now, if you're going through the course, there's a section in the beginning called certification details, and there are links that will take you to where you need to go to register for the exams. So I've just opened that, or you can just Google CKA CNCF, and you'll be able to go to this page, and here you can register for the exam. So as of now, the exam costs $395, and you can click on this to register for the exam. If you need a discount, use 20 code. That's 20 KODE to get a 20% discount. And from time to time, CNCF runs discounts and sales. So and when they do that, we actually announce it. So to remember to check out our social media if you'd like to be notified when they do that. So is the CKA course updated? Yep, same answer. So we are working on updating it. We'll be updating one part next week, and the others will follow the weeks after. But yeah, the exam is not going to get updated before February 10th, so we have a little bit more time. Okay. So Aman says, I cracked the CKAD exam in January 2023, and how to start here. So if you've already cracked the CKAD, then I would say your best bet is this path 1, where you can next aim for CKA, and then just skip CKAD because you've already done that. Do KCNA, CKS, KCSA. That would be my recommendation. But yeah, congratulations on cracking the CKAD, and all the best in starting the CKA. So is the content the same on Udemy? Yeah, so it is the same on Udemy. So we maintain, we keep both the courses up to date. So the progress tracker and leaderboard we've just shared. So just go to leaderboard.kodekloud.com and you'll be able to see that. Syed Imran says yesterday cleared CKA 96 out of 100. Congratulations, Syed. That's a very high score. Congratulations. So these paths are what we have defined. So Andy asks, where are these paths defined? And I can't find them. So these are paths we defined specifically for the Kubestronaut cohort. But on the leaderboard, you can see that on the leaderboard. So what resources are you using for KCSA? So we do have a KCSA course. So check that out. How to begin? Again, follow this path. If you're experienced, start with the CKA. If you need a little bit more, I would say time, then I would say start with the KCNA path. So yes, so it's going to be easier to take the KCNA first than CKA. So Thom says, I achieved my CKA in April 2024. So congratulations. I'm working through the CK80 course at the moment. Awesome stuff. Yeah, all the best. All the best, Thom. So Aryan has a question. Will the exam difficulty level remain the same after the update, or will it become more challenging? Usually, I would say at a high level, the difficulty level kind of remains, I would say it remains the same. Over the past like couple of years, the exam has gotten updated multiple times, but the difficulty level usually remains the same. Some topics get added, some topics gets removed. Usually, if you learn, if your foundations are right, if you learn it well, and if you practice well, then the difficulty does not really matter. So if you have the basic foundations, no matter what questions come, you should be able to handle them. So I think it depends on the time that you spend hands-on working on the labs. So the capability of selecting multiple certs, it's not there yet, but yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's something we can work on. Yeah, thank you for the suggestion, Deepak. Yep, just going through the other questions. So can there be a section after each course to quickly revise the notes? I mean, something like last minute notes before the certification for the important concepts. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's something we can look into. But the closest to that we would have is the mock exams, right? The mock exams are really for that, to kind of summarize whatever was learned in the course. So but yeah, I mean, we can look at, and as well as the PDFs, the PDFs that we share out. Usually those have like everything about that was discussed in the course. So if you just brush through that, that will also help you kind of revise what was learned. But yeah, thank you so much for the suggestion. So we have how do we access the graph? So, yeah, so I think we have shared the links to that. So one of the question is, I already have the CKA, I'm already CKA certified. How it'll show in the leaderboard. So if you're already CKA certified, you just need to add your certification link to that. So a couple of things about that. When you add your certification certificates here with the link, just make sure the name you have on KodeKloud kind of matches what is there on the certificate. Otherwise, it'll come as unverified. It'll get added, but it'll be unverified. So if the name matches your certificate from that link, then it'll be added as verified. So if you go here, you should be able to see all the certificates that are listed here, as well as, and it'll also appear here in the badges section, and you'll also get the completed flag on the overall path here. So yeah, just make sure it's the name kind of matches whatever you have within the certificate. So Jonathan asks, I already have taken a couple of certs. So if you already have certs, you just add your certificates, and you don't really have to go through the course again. Obviously, you've already completed it, so just add your certifications there. Just going through the other comments. The other comment is, it would be great if you could include a couple of mock exams for the CKA stream. So one of the things that I could share is, if you haven't seen already, so if you go to our learning paths, you're going to be able to see learning paths for different roles, as well as the different domains. And if you select CKA, you'll be able to see the CKA, the path just for CKA, right? And if you know nothing, you can start learning with Linux, then learning Kubernetes and the Kubernetes for beginners, and then take the CKA. And depending on what you know, you can kind of customize your path that way. But after CKA, so CKA already has a bunch of mock exams within it. But if you need additional practice, then we have the Ultimate CKA mock exam series that has a lot more mock exams within that. That are of like varying kind of difficulty. So you'll be able to see, and this is very much kind of follows the same environment and setup as the actual exam. So it has like 4 clusters, and you've got to switch between the different clusters and things like that. And so there are about 5 mock exams that are part of this. So yeah, have a look. Okay. So another question is, I was wondering if there was a course explaining the installation step-by-step of K8s. So within the CKA course and the Kubernetes for Beginners course, we do have, if you go all the way at the bottom in the appendix section, you have a section that explains how to set up and install Kubernetes step by step. So there are different ways to do that. You know, there's this approach with kubeadm, or there's the hard way approach, right, where you just set up everything step by step. And we have a series for that on YouTube, and we also have it on GitHub. The steps that are required to set it up, following the Kubernetes the hard way. But if you're new, I would highly recommend starting with just the labs, because I know we, as tech folks, the first thing that we want to do is just install it locally on our laptop and just set it up, right? But the challenge with that is, and if you have your basics right, like if you are really good with Linux system administration skills, if you're good at doing basic debugging or monitoring, logging, maybe certificates and things like that, then I would say definitely go for it. But if you're not, then you're going to run into challenges where things might not work, you might find you might run into issues with, like, let's say, usually the issues that I've seen are with certificates, right? You just generate different certificates and you put different things in different areas, and you mix it up and you mess it up, and then it doesn't work, and then you have no idea what's wrong, and then you're not able to troubleshoot it and you're not able to fix it. Now that's a very good idea, approach to learning too. So if you have the grit to like power through that and learn on the go and fix it, then I would say it's a really good approach to learning, where you're breaking things and you're just figuring out. But sometimes if it gets a little bit too complicated, you might just give up, which is why I kind of recommend using another approach where you learn through the labs that we have, where everything is already set up. So you learn the basics first. So you learn what are pods. You learn how to look at the logs from the pods. You learn about working with certificates. You will learn a little bit about networking. You learn the foundations, and you learn how to troubleshoot these. If there is a networking issue, how do you troubleshoot that? If there is a issue with certificate, then how do you troubleshoot that? And once you learn these foundations, and then you go back and set it up, now when something fails, it's very easy for you to you know now how to look at the logs. You know now what are certificates and what could be the problem. You know now if there's a networking issue, how do you go and fix it, right? So that would be my recommendation. So we do have these instructions in different places at the end of the exam, at the end of the course usually, but I try to avoid that at the beginning because I want to give users a seamless experience, right? So you just learn from a video, and then you just go to labs and you start working on it. So you just learn, watch a video, work on the labs, watch a video, work on the labs. That's kind of the fastest and the most efficient way to learn complex technology. Cool. Just going through the other questions. Saravanan says, previously started off with KCNA, but then decided I'll go ahead with CKA since KCNA is mostly theory. Yep. Personally, that's my personal preference, starting with the CKA, because I'm not sure how much you're going to learn with just a theory-based course, right? The KCNA. So if you're able to grasp it, that's good. But I always prefer going the hands-on approach first, right? Which is why my personal preference path is path one, which is starting with the CKA. Because when you start with CKA, you're working through the labs, you're getting that hands-on experience, and that way you're learning a lot, as opposed to when you start with KCNA, not doing the hands-on part, so it might be a bit challenging in that sense. But yeah, you can still get an idea of you can still go through it fast, and you can still get an idea of the theoretical concepts. So lack of time, someone from LinkedIn says, concern is lack of time. So lack of time is going to be a challenge, which is why you need a lot of practice, right? So you have to spend a lot of time in the labs and mock exams, just doing things, finding some hacks in terms of using imperative commands, and some tips and tricks, which we will discuss in the future sessions around what is the best approach to use within the certificate while giving the certification itself. So those are things that we could discuss in the future checking sessions. And by the way, if you want me to deep dive into any particular topic during these sessions, please do share that in Discord, and or you can just DM me directly, and I can plan and talk about those sessions in the future. So I think that I see a lot of other duplicate questions, which I'm just going to skip through that I've already answered. A question about on the platform itself. Yeah, so an app is definitely in development. So we'll most likely have an app for KodeKloud in the upcoming quarters, where you will be able to have videos offline and watch on planes and areas without internet. Great idea. We've had a lot of requests, so we're definitely working on building those. So thank you for that suggestion. How many courses are coming up in 2025? So we're going to have at least 50 courses in 2025. So last year we had 50, and we're going to have 50 this year. We kind of have a focus on quality, which is why we kind of said we're going to have like 50 courses this year, and a number of them. So we'll continue to have all of the courses for the CNCF Kubestronaut, the Golden Kubestronaut. So that's definitely happening. So we'll have all the courses needed to help you plan for the Golden Kubestronaut series. So that's another, I guess we have 5 now. No, we actually have 7 now. So we have all the Kubernetes courses that we have, the Prometheus certification as well. We do have a course on Kubestronauts as well, but then the remaining courses that are needed for the rest of the certifications. So we're definitely having those. We're going to have a number of AI courses coming out. So AI Ops and ML Ops courses are going to come out this year. And we're going to continue to have more cloud courses. So AI on cloud. So those are some of the courses that are also in the works. We're also working on creating new hands-on learning experiences. So there'll be a number of foundational courses. So we're going back to the basics, helping you learn like machine learning fundamentals, data science fundamentals, mathematics for computer science, and just basic computer architecture itself. So we're going to start from the basic, and we're going to expand in the cloud native and our core area of cloud native and DevOps, as well as work on the new and exciting areas, which are the AI Ops and ML Ops. But yeah, maybe next time on the next session, I'll put together a deck where I'll share a list of those courses that we're planning. But I would absolutely love if you could help us pick those courses. So we do have a request board called request.kodekloud.com. So if you just go to request.kodekloud.com, you'll be able to see kind of the votes here. So definitely go here and cast your vote on the topics that you like us to build. So a lot of the top voted ones are already out, like Azure DevOps is already out. That's live. Anything that says live is already out. I think it should be top rated. Yeah. Jenkins is out. The AWS Certified Solutions Architect is out. The AWS DevOps Engineer is in the works, so that's going to come out. The ELK stack is out. Prometheus certification is out. So do add your vote here, and that'll help us pick the future courses. Cool. So yeah, I think we have just 2 more minutes left, but I'm just gonna skim through the remaining and see if there are any other questions. But a lot of them are duplicates that I've already answered, so I'm just going to skip through. Cool. All right. So first of all, thank you so much for your time attending this session. Really appreciate it. And we will have another session happening in 2 weeks' time. If you want me to cover anything specific, do let me know, and I'll make sure to do that on this call next time. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. And until next time, goodbye.